What is going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the pitch. Today is a play test of the Nike Premier 3, if I could keep it in my hands. Now, this is a football boot that I'm a little bit sort of on the fence about. I think it's a really good product for most foot shapes. It's at a reasonable price point. I'm just really disappointed that they're going away from leather. Now, I know in the initial review, there was a lot of speculation about whether these were actually leather or not. I can confirm this particular colorway is in fact leather. It is not K leather though anymore. So it used to be, but now it is not. This is like a calfskin leather or some other type of leather. They are moving though into a synthetic material sometime in the next generation or so. My guess is that Premier 4 will be a synthetic model. So without further ado, let's take a look at what it is like to train and play in the Nike Premier 3. Let's hop into it. All right, so we'll get these boots on feet real quick. I am, of course, wearing a pair of foot grip socks. You guys can find a discount code in the comments below or in the description below for the fit and feel of the Premier 3. These are really comfortable football boots overall. I find them to be perfectly true to size. So these are in a 9 US and the fit in the length is absolutely perfect. The width is it's one of those shoes that really has a super neutral upper and shape. And so whether you're super wide footed, whether you're on the thinner side or narrower side, you're gonna find that these fit actually quite well. I know I was a little bit sort of on the fence at least about them in the initial review, especially of this colorway, particularly because I was a little disappointed that they were gonna move to synthetic, but it's hard to argue with a boot that fits so cleanly straight out of the box. This is a boot, this particular colorway I've actually worn now for a training session already. So these are kind of getting broken in, or at least they're, softening up. As you can see, I can kind of wiggle my toes a little bit. There's plenty of softness here in this upper. The leather is starting to mold to the shape of my foot, and it's doing a nice job at that as well. Pair that with a pair of foot grip socks, and the formula, honestly, for 130 bucks or whatever these cost now in the US, I get confused because I'm in Australia, so the pricing's obviously a little bit different with the exchange rate, but on the a little bit less expensive side, these are definitely a boot that's going to fit most people. It's an iconic design, especially with that tongue. Of course, you can cut it off here. I'll show you so you can see there's a little scissors situation right there, so you can cut it off if you want. I tend to prefer to keep it on just because I think it looks really nice and iconic, but that's what they look like on feet. The sole plate, of course, being all conical studs, pretty neutral, not a lot of snapback, unfortunately, but that just is the way it is. So that's general construction, what it is. Let's get into some footwork. So already feeling pretty warm, so I'm just gonna jump straight into some footwork. I'll leave the ball for now. We're just gonna do a little bit of cutting through the cones. Should be pretty straightforward, but I really wanna see kind of how this sole plate responds, especially when you put it through a little bit more cutting and paces, which feels pretty nice, to be honest. Ideally, the sole plate would be a little bit more responsive than this, but again, for 130 bucks or whatever it is, these are not bad. Really, really not bad. If you guys remember that blue pair, the really nice blue pair that I had back when I played in Michigan, that was a pair that I used actually quite a bit for training. And I thought it was pretty decent as far as lockdown goes. But the main reason why it didn't get a lot of love from me was because of the heel lockdown. And I'm already feeling a little bit of that sort of issue now. It just, even with grip socks, slips just that ever so slightly. Now you can see from a fit perspective, they're actually really decent. Like, that fits my foot pretty well. Yeah, maybe there's a little bit of gap on that outside, but it's not so much a gap as it is just thicker material. Like, the material right on the outside right here, especially in that collar area where I'm pointing, I'll try to zoom in there, that is a little bit thicker. So as you can see, it's just because my ankle has that little bit of a crevice in it. That's really the only reason why I'm getting that. The heel, yes, does have a little bit of slippage, but overall, as you can see, the boots fit my foot. I'll wiggle my toes a little bit. So quite a bit of softness to the leather upper. No, it's not kangaroo leather. It's kind of a bummer. But again, the shape is totally neutral. It's going to be great, I think, for most people. And that is something that is going really, I think that it is a main selling point of the Nike Premier 3. Of course, another selling point for the Premier 3 is, of course, this color, which is absolutely beautiful, and you can see a lot of different colorways online and stuff that I think are absolutely incredible. My wife actually just bought the all white with the forest green swoosh, and then there's like a black with a neon green accent and an all black version, and obviously these gold ones. Some really great options in colorways that just look fantastic. I'm like, dude, do this with a Tiempo and you'd sell out every bloody time. So then it begs the question, right? Do you buy from Nike the Tiempo, or do you buy the Premier? Because the Premier is half the price and it comes with leather still. And because the Tiempo isn't really a Tiempo anymore, and the Premier is basically a Tiempo Legend 3 Elite from way back in the day, then the question becomes, right? Like, I don't know, maybe the hot take is buy the Premier, because the Premier has all of the looks, the kangaroo, or not the kangaroo leather, but the leather, fold over tongue, conical stud pattern, which yes, the Tiempo has too, but I don't know, man. These are really growing on me. And I really liked, I mean, there was a reason why I wore those blue ones back when I played at Michigan for a little while there. I really enjoyed those, and I don't know, these are kind of, look at that, like way softer than a Tiempo Legend 10 would be right now. Like, I think if you're somebody who is coming from the Tiempo Legend 9 and you are somebody who's like, yo, I need leather and I have to stay with Nike, obviously you only really have one option, which is the Premier. But in a lot of ways, this boot is closer to the Tiempo Legend 9 Elite in fit and feel than the new Tiempo Legend 10, which is crazy to me. So then I think the conclusion there is, honestly, instead of buying the Tiempo Legend 10, which no doubt is a good boot, but it's not leather anymore, and this one feels way more Tiempo than that one does, I think you buy this one instead. Ooh, roll over, hello, which is crazy to me because it's half the price and probably pretty equitable performance. All right, now I'm gonna just take them off really quick. I would say that they're not quite at the point where they're hurting my feet, but I am getting just a little bit of hot spot on the outside. As most of these videos go, I do have to take boots off just because they start to feel a little bit narrow on that midfoot area. But these, as you can see, are getting pretty stretched right here, which is perfect. That's exactly what I want. Like I was mentioning earlier, this material right here is quite a bit thicker, so you know it's gonna wrap your ankle in maybe a way that's a little bit more bulbous or like bulgy than say a knit boot or a synthetic speed boot in a lot of ways. And so I wouldn't worry about the way that these fit around your ankle. Just know that, you know, you can tie the laces up. I might actually punch another lace hole in here just to get even extra lockdown, which actually I think would suit these boots really, really well. So now that we've established like, okay, maybe these ones are actually the boots to buy in the Nike lineup from like a Tiempo versus Premier perspective, which I didn't think I was gonna say today. Like honestly, I don't script these videos. The whole point of that is literally just to give you guys a free-flowing thought process of, you know, how I'm training, how the boots feel. These feel way more comfortable to me than the Nike Tiempo 10, in my opinion. Like so much more comfortable straight out of the box. They're higher volume, there's more width to them. They're not super like crazy tight. And I do like what the Nike Tiempo Legend offers, Tiempo Legend 10 offers, but I just think these are a better product if you're looking for like a leather-like Tiempo experience. So we're gonna put these back on and we're gonna talk about in the next section, not only how they perform when doing some passing drills and some shooting drills, but also whether you buy something like this or whether you buy its competitors, Copa Gloro and New Balance 442 2.0, and maybe there's a couple others sprinkled in there that are kind of right around this price point. Pretty cool though, pretty decent competition. So from an out-of-box comfort perspective, I would say that I prefer the 442 I think that's a better product right now, simply because it does have the K leather in the forefoot. It actually still has K leather, whereas these ones don't. So the comfort you're going to get out of the 442 is pretty incredible. Those are also like speed boot lightweight. Like they are really, really lightweight. And that is something that this and the Copa Gloro unfortunately cannot boast. These ones are decent. Copa Gloro is really chunky. We'll do a play test of those, I think. But the Copa Gloro is like probably the worst of the three by quite a long way, at least for my, like what I prefer. It's just one of those boots that like, oh man, I don't know. It's hard to enjoy when they have really large heels and just not quite the right fit. But hey, Premier 3, man, decent. All right, for those who want the drill, very straightforward. Just gonna go through the cones here and pass into the side netting. The idea is that as I come through, I'm doing some pretty chill stuff. So it's literally just because I don't have a bouncy wall or anything, I just wanna focus on how do the boots feel when I'm cutting through and then releasing the ball, passing a little bit. It's one of those, just those movements because I don't have a wall or one of those bouncy board things. Gotta be pretty reasonable at. Passing feels good. It's a little disconnected. That's one thing, part of the reason why the Premier didn't make like proper game rotation for me when I was at Michigan. Overall, it feels pretty good. So as I'm going through, right, like that feels good. Control the ball is good. I can really, kind of whip it where I want to. That's not a problem. But it's not as connected as, other leather, like lighter leather boots on the market, which, something like a Mizuno boot, even the New Balance 442, which I realize has a synthetic leather midfoot, but I don't know. Still one of those things, right? Like you want to make sure that you're getting the feel that you want and you're getting the amount of control that you want, because at the end of the day, that's really all it's about. So for me, decent passing. Again, like as far as a boot that's gonna cost you like pretty much no money. I mean, I know $100 is expensive, but like compared to say a Tiempo, a GX, like any of the other, a Vapor Superfly, like any of the other Nike lineups, this is by far the least expensive other than a takedown model. And I would say buy these instead of a takedown model. Maybe the only exception to that is the Tiempo takedown model if you are in the market for a synthetic leather boot. And that's fair enough, right? Like that's totally fair enough. For me, I'm not really somebody who fits that well in the Tiempo. And so I'll probably pick these over the Tiempo every day. But obviously GX being my favorite. I will say though, as we start to get into shooting and as I started to get into some of these passing drills, it is pretty noticeable like how neutral the sole plate is, which is a huge positive for me. That's one thing that I think a lot of, Vapor and GX from the Nike brand don't do very well. I know they're FG models, but I don't know. I just think at this point, so many fields are AG like this one. You might as well just make it more, I don't know, like conical studs have forever been kind of the go-to. And I don't think that should change really, but it does because people want like the thing that looks the fastest. Whereas like I'm always a fan of having something like this where you've got really nice feel underfoot. Yeah, it's a bit flimsy, but like, man, they work great. All right, for those interested in the drill, next one we're doing, starting at the baseline in the pink, coming up to the blue, whatever turn you want, little skill move outside the pink, and then my goal is to hit the opposite corner. So it's not gonna be quite like 100% shooting yet, but just trying to get that whipped ball into the corner. Now, feeling right now with the Premier 3 is great. No issues so far, like that. So yeah, a little bit, could improve technique a little bit, but that's the idea anyway. Feeling feels good. No complaints for shooting either. As I said before, it's gonna be about the same for me as passing, so a little bit disconnected. But overall, with a boot like this that has basically 0 distractions, it's hard to complain about. Like, yeah, do I prefer a little bit of grip elements? Sure. But for me, you know, people who buy the Premier 3 know that they're getting into just a simple playing experience, and that's what it delivers. So midfoot lockdown feels pretty good, I would say. It's not bad. I don't think it's as good as, hello. Oh, that's lucky. Don't go over, please. Ah, dang it. Little dip and swerve, a little bit too much there. That's all right, I'll go grab that in a minute. As I was saying, midfoot lockdown feels pretty good. Yeah, definitely pretty good. And there we go, that's what I'm looking for. For a boot like this, again, an extra lace hole would have been super nice, but I think for me, a little more whip on that. For me, for what this offers, I still feel like I can play in these, and you know, as I'm shooting, as I'm making side to side movements, hopefully you shoot better than that. You know, as I'm getting that whip around, oftentimes with the plant foot, and I'll show you in the next clip, I'll talk about like what usually happens with rollover, but I'm not getting a bunch of, there we go. I'm not getting a bunch of rollover, which is huge. Okay, so rollover happens for a couple different reasons. Now, one reason is, let's say I'm planting with my left foot and then I'm following through and shooting with my right foot. I'm a little off balance just because I'm trying to hold the camera and point at the same time, but you get the idea. So if I'm coming up to the goal and I'm planting like that, 2 things happen. One is you have a sole plate that your foot kind of bleeds over the side of the sole plate. You can see mine does, especially in that midfoot area a little bit. So that's one factor for when you get a little bit of rollover where your foot either does this, like literally does this, or your foot's kind of slipping back and forth inside the boot. The second is this area right here, and in effect, that area right there as well. And I would say that for the most part, in this shooting drill that I've just been doing, as I come around, I'm feeling like the sole plate is pretty planted, which is huge, but the upper is doing a really nice job of locking my foot right in that area, and then on the other side, right in that area. And those are 2 things that I really need when I'm looking for a boot that's gonna be more of a boot that I train in, or I would consider for a game. So for $120, $130, depending on where you get them from, that's pretty good. All right, testing a little more powerful shots here, or at least I'm gonna try. So getting through here, touch, and bend into the far post, that's the idea anyway. So gonna try about 5 or 6 each side, and we'll do a little bit of a different drill on each side just to test, hey, how do these, like that. Beautiful. Placement over power, and then over time, we add the power, we add a little bit of that whip, dip, swerve, quote me, like that. Bang. Love that. Honestly, I went into this today feeling like I didn't want to review the Premier, and I gotta admit, the Premier has completely changed my perception. I know I had it a couple years ago, but man, I'm really enjoying playing in these right now, and they're just comfortable. They're no BS. There's nothing that you can say about them where it's like, this is why you don't wear them. Overall, just really a really simple and elegant product, honestly. So as we finish up this review, is this Love that, wow. Is this gonna be a boot that I train in? Yeah, definitely. Is it gonna be a boot that I play some pickup in? Which, by the way, for those of you Melbourne residents, we're gonna start doing some pickup soccer soon. Now, is this gonna be a game boot? That was a meg on the goalkeeper, by the way. I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is because I'm not gonna pick this over a Mizuno product that is K-leather and a little bit more, that was another meg on the goalkeeper, and also has a little bit of extra something and responsiveness from a sole plate. So for me, great product for the price, but if you're looking across leather products, I'm gonna wear 442 above this, and I'm gonna wear like a Mizuno or an Adler boot ahead of this one. All right, we got 3 balls. Gonna see how we go. 3 free kicks. Let's get them going. Obviously, this doesn't make me a better free kick taker, but it's always interesting to see what the feeling is like, because I take free kicks from this spot pretty much every day, so it's interesting. Nice little like bend and curve there. I need it to go a little bit higher over the wall. That would probably hit somebody right in the you-know-where, or the head or something, I don't know. The head or the head, you know what I'm saying? All right, if you've gotten to this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Damn, that was like the same shot. I guess that's a good thing. Consistency is key. Last one, here we go. Let's get this one a little bit higher and send the gold Premier 3 playtest off with a bang. Oh, wow. Oh man, okay. On to the conclusion. All right guys, that is going to be it for the playtest of the gold Nike Premier 3. Nike Premier 3, regardless of what color you get, my understanding is that it will be leather. The next generation of Premier will not be leather. So if you are in the market for a very simple football boot, but that also looks really iconic, would highly, highly recommend you pick a pair up now. Suede liner in the heel does a nice job locking the heel in. It did give me a little bit of slippage, as I mentioned earlier on in the video. Leather upper is starting to feel super soft and really pliable, which I love. Okay feel on ball, like good feel on ball for striking, juggling touches and stuff. Dribbling, it's okay. Passing, it's okay. Again, it's not the thinnest leather, it's not the most plush leather, but it does the job well, especially at that $100 to $130 price point. For me, this is number 2 in the lineup for sort of the budget football boot, between the Gloro, this, and the 442 taking the cake. And then I probably don't want to see the Gloro ever again. The heel slippage on that boot is crazy for me. That's probably just because of my foot shape, but that's the idea. We'll get into more of that in the playtest of that video, or of that boot. But overall, decent package, really surprised me today. I was not looking forward to this review, and it definitely is one that I will probably play in a little bit more, because I think they look really awesome. But again, I was really sort of sus about the feeling of the boot, and they feel pretty good. So I'll probably punch another lace hole in there. You'll see that in the 1 month review if I do end up deciding to do that, but I'm gonna definitely play in these quite a bit more before that 1 month review goes out, so I can get even more of a feeling, break them in. Right now they feel perfect on my feet, so after pretty much 2 sessions, that's pretty good for a football boot. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know down in the comment section below which is your favorite colorway of the Nike Premier 3. As always, be awesome, take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.